Hello everyone, another video for operations planning and control. Today we're going to talk about forecasting. Forecasting is important because you need to plan for your capacity, and then once you predict the future, you predict the demand from your customers, then you could basically create and develop plans to meet the demand. So let's go ahead and take a look into the demand management, starting with that. So before making plans, whether strategic plan or production plan, what we need to do, we need to do some estimates. So we need just a rough, a baseline to start our planning. And this is basically important because the forecasting is important because you cannot wait for customers to place their orders, then you could make plans. So what you want to do, you need to ahead of your customers, so you could basically plan ahead and offer them what they want. And of course, this is important because you can have a better customer satisfaction because you shorten the delivery time. Of course, you have the, also order processing will be, shortened, and the delivery promises will be accurately calculated. So when we talk about demand forecasting, we talk about projection of past information and or experience into expectation of the demand in the future. What does that mean? That means that we could use the past data, whatever demand we have, and we could, create future expectation. That's what is the demand means. The demand forecasting is use whatever information you have based on the trends, based on the data that you have, and then you can create a plan for the future to meet the future demand. And this could be whether for individual products or family products, could be product categories, market sectors, could be different as resources as well. So it's not just predicting the products and demand for products and services, but also you can predict the resources that are needed to meet that demand. So when we talk about the elements of forecasting, there are a few elements to consider this as a good forecasting. This would be the forecasting should be timely, so which is within a time frame that's useful. So if we're saying we need to forecast, that means for the next year, maybe, or for the next week, or for the next month. Also, we need this forecast to be accurate. This forecast to be accurate. The whole idea of doing the forecast is to meet the customer demand, and we need to meet that demand as accurate as possible. We need this forecasting to be reliable as well, so we could use it again and again. If it's not reliable, then it's not worth it to waste your time. Should be in meaningful units, which means the forecast should be something measurable that you could measure it. Should be in written, of course. That's, you have to write it down. It's not just based on verbal communication. It has to be also in a written plan. Technique should be simple to understand and use. Of course, the whole idea when we select a forecasting is we need to make sure that it's easy to understand and it's easy to use. And of course, simplification is a key feature in management. So try to be as simple as you can. And now also we need to make sure that it is cost effective, which is not cost you that much of money in order to do that forecast. Yes, there are some forecasts that will cost you a lot of money. However, this is not recommended, but even maybe recommended in advanced techniques. But if we're talking a product and customers and services, there's so many easy ways that you will learn here. Using Excel, it's not going to cost you anything. It's just a methodology that we're using for doing the forecast. Okay, what we need to do in order to do the forecast, we have 6 steps here. One is to determine the purpose of the forecast, why we're doing it. So first of all, why we doing the forecast? Are we, the goal is to meet the customer demands? Is it based on we need to grow, hire more people? Do we need to invest in more machines? So you need to determine the purpose of the forecast and then establish the time frame. What's the time frame for your forecast? And then obtain, clean, and analyze the appropriate data. So what you need to do is have access to previous data and then use it and analyze it. And then number four is you select the forecasting techniques that we will share today with you here. I will be sharing with you these techniques and you will be using it. Number five, make the forecast and monitor the forecast errors. And then, so basically number five, based on number four, once you selected the technique, you implement the analysis and then you show the forecast and then look into the accuracy for your forecasting. That's the last step. Qualitative forecasting, these are one of the approaches that we use in forecasting, whether qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative techniques based on soft information, such as human factors, personal opinion, hunches. These are difficult or impossible to quantify. And usually this is done based on senior management. Sometimes they get together, they decide something. Yes, this is not related to any data, but that's based on what they see. This is based on their vision, and this is what they want to do. So qualitative data based on opinion, and again, most likely it's practiced by senior management because they are having a lot of experience and they know the environment that they've been working in. So therefore, they will make that opinion or that decision, and this is what they're expecting based on the behavior of the competitor, based on the behavior of the market, based on the needs, based on their experience. They could, direct the company into one direction without the need to support their opinion with data. The one that I like, it's the quantitative forecasting. These techniques rely on hard data. So we need to use the data to justify the future projections. So whenever we say, yes, we have a growth, it's not based on my opinion. It's just based on the data that we have. Quantitative techniques involve either the projection of historical data or the development of associative methods that attempt to use casual variables to make a forecast. So it's based on historical data that we use, or maybe you could create a model to forecast the future based on some variables that you used in that model. Now let's take a look into more details about qualitative forecast. Qualitative forecast, these are subjective inputs such as opinions from customer surveys, sales staff, managers, executives, and experts. Executive opinions, a small group of upper level managers may meet and collaboratively develop a forecast. So again, these executive opinions, they just meet together, upper level management, and they make their opinion about the future of the company. Sales forecast opinion, members of the sales or customer service staff can be a good source of information due to their direct contact with their customers and may be aware of the plans customers may be considering for the future. And number three, customer surveys or consumer surveys. So basically, the customer is the main objective. We need to meet the demand. And this is the ultimate goal, is to determine the demand. It makes sense to involve them with the process and ask for their opinion. Consumer surveys typically represent a sample of consumer opinions. So whenever we send a survey, that's just a sample of their opinion. And this, if you have a good sample size, then that would represent the customers. Other approaches related to qualitative forecast, that would be managers may make their decisions from other managers or staff, whether inside or outside, based on their experience. So they ask for help for other experts and say, what do you guys think? And these experts will provide the support and help. And there's another technique, what we call Delphi method, which is Basically, it's meeting with experts and asking several experts' opinion and ask them saying, okay, well, these are this is our situation and what you guys think based on your experience. So you will ask different experts to provide you with suggestions. Now we're going to move to of course, the quantitative. So we did talk about the qualitative. Now we need to talk about quantitative forecasting. Now the whole chapter is focused on the quantitative, so we're going to discuss that in very details. The first type is in the forecasting, the time series, and the time series forecasting projects patterns identified in recent time series observations. And this is basically you look into the demand over time, and then you observe it, and then you look into trends or patterns in the demand. And if we're using this, we could assume that the future value of time series can be estimated from past values. So, for example, if we said last year we sold 100 units, so this year we will be selling 100 units of this product. So basically, this is what is the time series. If we said last year we have a growth of 10% in sales, then this year also we're expecting another 10%. So this is what is a time series forecasting. And there are different types of time series. These are the trend, the seasonality, cycles, irregular variation, and random variation. Starting with a trend, the trend is a long-term upward or downward movement in data, moving, population shifts, changing in income. Seasonality, from the name of it, it's just based on the season. Short-term, fairly regular variation related to the calendar or time of day. Restaurant serves, call centers, theaters all experience seasonal demand. So just to clarify this about the seasonality, let's say you have a store and you have all kind of clothes. And of course, in the winter you have to bring a winter clothes. However, in the summer you will bring the summer clothes. So that would be based on the season. Also, if you have a store, maybe during the Christmas time, you need to provide some Christmas item for your customers. However, in different holidays like the Valentine's Day, you need to bring some items related to that season. So what I'm saying here is the seasonality is based on the season, based on the calendar, and the demand will impact. The cycle demand or the cycle trend that we see, it's a wave-like variation lasting more than 1 year. These are often related to a variety of economic, political, or even agricultural conditions. So it's like, for example, every 5 years we see a growth in the service industry, for example, and then it will slow down, and then the other part, the manufacturing, will be strong at that time. So there is basically a cycle. Every 5 years we see a trend happening. Every 5 years or 10 years we see something happening. This is what is the wave-like variation, lasts for more than 1 year. These are often related to as mentioned, economic, political, or agricultural conditions. And the irregular variation, this is due to unusual circumstances that does not reflect any behavior. It's just, this is just due to labor strike or weather events. These are just irregular. It's not usual. Again, it's due to unusual circumstances. Random variation. This is also even, it's just random. It's, variation that remains affect all other behaviors have been accounted for. So when I say random variation, that would be, the cycle, it would be the irregular variation, it would be the season, it would be the time series, and many others. So it's just a combination of different of these factors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop my video right here, and then next time I will start with the first one of the forecasting, which is the naive forecasting. I'll see you in another video.